welcome to our podcast.
Welcome back.
My name's Hannah.
My name's Donovan.
And this is one of mine.
Oh, no.
And we're doing Twilight. We're doing Eclipse. Oh. Yay. We've gotten to the two books that I actually like.
You actually like these books?
I mean, there's a scale. If I were trapped on a desert island, I would not want Eclipse and New Moon to be part of, like, the 5 books that I'm allowed to bring with me.
Okay.
But, you know.
Yeah, I guess, you know, in comparison to the first two.
Yeah, we're grading on a curve.
Yeah. And I have to imagine, if you write 4 novels, I would imagine you would get better at them as you go.
You would think and hope, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. The look you gave me when you said that sent shivers down my spine.
So I have, once again, tagged a bunch of stuff in this book. I have a color-coded system for all of my little tags in this.
Oh, boy.
Green is good writing. Yellow is bad writing. Orange is particularly egregious grammar. Pink is girl, shut the fuck up. Blue is general Edward grossness. And then I have a dark green, and I don't remember what it is. Hang on. It is, plot points.
Oh, yeah, important plot points.
Yeah, there are 2 of those.
Yeah, fuck the plot. What are we doing here?
If you've listened to our other Twilight episodes, all the previous disclaimers still apply. You're not dumb if you like Twilight. I think the books are kind of dumb. It's fine to like things that are bad.
Yeah.
I also mentioned it very quickly in one of the episodes, but I would like to formally say I have read a lot of people who talked about Twilight, and very specifically there is one person on the internet. Her name is Cleolinda Jones. I have read her talk about Twilight a lot over the years. I was a huge fan of her back in like the live journal days all the way up through. She's still pretty active on Tumblr.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that she says about Twilight that just became part of my like internal dialogue for it.
Yeah.
So there are some things that I say, like if I call Bella the tasty beloved, or or like the werewolfing, or Fever of 100 and Werewolf. Those are all things from Cleolinda. I'm not intentionally stealing and trying to like pass these jokes off as my own. It's just I've read them so much that it has become part of my internal vocabulary. I highly recommend, if you can find some of her older stuff, to go read her. She's very funny. Again, still active on Tumblr. Have a great time.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way when we did the Dunk and Egg episode, where I was like, I've watched so many of those Alt-Shift-X videos, and I wanted to like make sure that I was like mentioning him.
You can also cut this out, or maybe we can save it for like the joke reel or whatever.
Yeah.
But if in any way, shape, or form this podcast reaches the ears of Cleolinda Jones, my love, please bring back The Secret Life of Dolls. I need to know what happened. It has been 15 years or something. Like, she used to have this amazing soap opera called The Secret Life of Dolls, and it started as just like she collected like doll action figure stuff.
Yeah.
And she would collect them and then like write out like internal dialogue that they have, and then it turned into like a whole soap opera thing. There were 2 Edwards and 2 Bellas and a bunch of Lord of the Rings characters, and also people from His Dark Materials. It was great. It was so entertaining. It's gone.
Yeah.
All right. I found a lot of really good resources for this stupid project of mine, including a few timelines of all the events that happened in the Twilight Saga. And I really want to emphasize that.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Events?
I mean,
name one thing that happened.
Oh, I really want to say something dumb from the next book. Jacob flings a bowl at Rosalie's head so hard it gets a dent in it.
A bowl?
Yeah, like a metal bowl.
Okay. I mean, we're really scraping the barrel on what counts as an event here, I guess.
Okay, if you want an actual event, you know, like the colon settle in Forks, Washington.
Again, not an event.
It is an event.
An event is like something. No,
the Italy trip.
That's the closest thing to an event happening so far. Like with the whole rigmarole when they went to that town in Italy. Yeah.
Anyway, I really want to emphasize time this time around.
Oh, no.
As a quick refresher and to demonstrate how much nonsense happened in a very short period of time, last book, from when Jacob started to feel better post-werewolfing to when Edward and Bella came back from Italy, okay? Yeah. Jacob starts feeling bad, Bella goes to Italy, comes back, right? Yeah. All of that happens in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
March.
This book starts on May 14th.
Okay.
So it has been less than a month.
It's been like a month, yeah.
Yeah. Finally, we do get a show don't tell as Charlie screws up dinner. He's making pasta and jar sauce, and it's bad. In the last 2 books, Bella was always talking about being the only one capable of cooking, but we never saw Charlie fail to make a meal, and he's been feeding himself since Renee left.
Yeah.
I think we're meant to believe that Charlie relies on other people to cook for him, and he eats out a lot, but it's not on the page, so I'm stuck thinking that Bella just thinks he'd starve to death without her.
Like, if you can't boil water, I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Yeah. Charlie wants to talk to Bella about being too obsessed with her boyfriend and probably hanging out with some other people too.
Yeah, you know what? Fair.
Yeah. He's pushing her to go see Jacob again, something Bella won't/can't do for a few reasons. She won't because she doesn't want to have to deal with the werewolf versus vampire fight on 2 fronts, and I think because she doesn't want to face whatever amount of feelings there are between her and Jacob. And can't because Edward physically won't let her.
Oh, wait, what do you mean by that, Hannah?
There are a couple of times she's like, I would like to go talk to my friend Jacob, and Edward is like, you can't. Yeah, in the month that he has been back, he's been like, you can't go see Jacob. He's a werewolf. Werewolves are dangerous.
And vampires are totally safe.
Yeah. Bella gets some... So
didn't he just go through a whole fucking book about how it's too dangerous to be around vampires?
Exactly.
And now Bella's back and he's just like, you can't go talk to werewolves. They're scary.
Exactly. It's very frustrating.
And also, I was going to say, Bella's pretty headstrong, but that's not true. Bella's just stupid.
Yeah. Hard-headed, not headstrong. 2 different things.
2 different things. I can't imagine she at one point would just be like, I'm going to go anyway.
Perhaps. Hang on. Hold. Put a pin in that. Take a little sparkly pin and stick it in there. We'll be back.
Oh, no.
So while they're talking, Bella has also gotten some stuff about like college admission stuff.
Yeah.
And she admonishes her dad for opening her mail. And I want to scream because Edward definitely did that in the last book.
Yeah. He also like invaded her privacy and took all of the photos and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, a lot. Yes, a lot. A lot. Oh my god. So this is my girl shut the fuck up 1 for Bella, and it's not that. It's a different thing.
There's so many of these.
So Edward comes by, and Edward is very polite to Charlie, and Bella, inside her head, she doesn't say this out loud, I want to make it very clear, she says inside of her head that Charlie doesn't deserve to have Edward be polite to him. A quick timeline from Charlie's perspective of the last amount of time. So, a year and 4 months ago, your daughter moved in with you. A week later, she's nearly killed in an accident in the school parking lot, but is saved by the son of that handsome doctor in town. For the next 3 months, she is alternately deeply frustrated and seemingly infatuated with that kid, leading up to 13 months ago when she stormed out of your house screaming about hating Edward and you and Forks and ran away to Phoenix, where she fell down 2 flights of stairs and through a plate glass window at the hotel that kid was staying at. You had no idea where she was for 3 days. The next 6 months, your daughter is once again obsessed with this guy, and he is always in your house, and she doesn't really seem to hang out with anybody else. 8 months ago, this kid dumped your daughter, and then his whole family left town overnight. Overnight, the whole family left town.
Yeah.
Your daughter then spent 3 months basically catatonic and screaming herself awake from nightmares. You intervene and she starts hanging out with other people, including that nice Colette kid. About 5 months ago, your daughter's ex's 16-year-old sister shows up at your house alone with business to take care of in town. Your daughter then disappears again for 3 whole days while you were at a funeral. She comes home being literally carried by this guy, half dead from lack of sleep and God knows what else. Your daughter and her ex get back together, and she immediately starts ignoring her other friends again. And she seems to have the will to live again because of a guy. And then she has the goddamn temerity to think that you don't have to be polite to this shit stain. How goddamn fucked up is that?
I mean, it's realistic for a stupid-ass teenager to think that.
Yeah.
But... oh my God, he should just externalize that thought. He should say that to her.
He should.
He should say, Bella, you must understand that this is my perspective on the situation. You might know things that I don't know, and there are things that I don't know about the situation, but this is my view on the situation, and at every turn, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, twice you have disappeared for 3 days and I didn't know where you were, and it had something to do with him.
Yeah, and this guy, like, being in your life makes you obsessed with him, and then when he leaves, you go catatonic. That's not healthy. That's not healthy.
Yeah. I think in the last book, Renee's husband Phil was like signed to a specific minor league baseball team. Like if I was Charlie, I'd be like, you're moving back in with your mother.
Yeah.
It's not healthy. It's not safe for you to be here. I don't know what the fuck is going on with these people, but everything that I just read reads like some cult bullshit.
Going to play for the Altoona Curve.
No, he's in Florida.
You're going to play for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays is the major league team. Can I pull a minor league team out of my head? The Boca Raton Kingfishers. I don't fucking know, man.
There's got to be just one called the Gators.
So there's one. I know for a fact that there's one minor league that like all of the teams are in Florida. I think it's literally called like the Florida League. Like there's like 20 of them down there. It's fucking wild.
Okay, so plot point 1. The Cullens and the Quillettes have a treaty. When the Cullens moved into town, the Quillettes were like, okay, you can stay here, but you're not permitted on Quillette land, meaning within the bounds
I'm sorry. I really hate to step this in, but there's a team called the Florida Everblades.
Is it hockey?
Holy fuck. That's the coolest name I've ever heard. The Florida Everblades hockey team. Holy shit, guys. I'm sorry.
Donovan, there's a lot of script to get there.
I know. Please. The Daytona Tortugas. Anyway, please continue.
Okay, plot point 1. The Cullens and the Quillettes have a treaty. The vampires are allowed to stay in Forks, but they are absolutely not permitted on Quillette land, meaning within the bounds of the reservation. The Cullens are allowed to hunt wildlife, but if any of them bites a human, the Quillette werewolves can hunt them down and kill them. Bella dating Edward being friends with Jacob and wanting to be a vampire is what fuels most of the plot of this book.
Yeah.
A or B, up to interpretation, if you think like Bella wanting to be a vampire is the A plot or the B plot.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Also of note, Jacob claims that the no human bites rule is not bounded by geography, meaning that if Edward and Bella go somewhere else, like say to Alaska where she wants to go to college,
yeah, and
he bites and turns her there, the werewolves are legally allowed to hunt him down and kill him anywhere in the world.
That seems excessive. I don't know. I get it, but
yeah. But like that's going to be a lot of the plot of this, and frankly, the next book is the tension between Bella wanting to be a werewolf and whoever bites her possibly being murdered by werewolves.
Yeah, and once again,
sorry, Bella wanted to be a vampire. I think I said Bella wanted to be a werewolf.
Once again, this is another situation where we could have some very interesting conversations about, are vampires like inherently evil and the existence of vampires is an inherent bad thing and that somebody choosing to be a vampire is inherently an immoral bad decision or maybe it's okay but I'm sure it's just mostly going to be about a love triangle and how nobody actually cares about that shit.
About who she picks.
No,
yeah. The actual morals of this book are very confusing. Edward insists that he had a soul when he was a human and he does not have one now, and Bella's like, how could anyone as beautiful and perfect as Edward not have a soul? It's very tiring.
Can we not... stupid... Sorry, I'm not going to get into it.
So this is kind of not like a full plot point, but it is necessary to know. There have been a string of murders in Seattle. Seattle has like a much higher death rate than it has in previous years. And people are like, oh my God, is there a killer? Is there a series of killers? Is there a series of serial killers? Why are so many people dying in Seattle?
Look, I love Seattle. It's an amazing place that some great art and it's like a beautiful city and I would love to go there and I have friends that live there and I love Seattle so much. They are known for serial killers. Like they just have them.
Okay, so like whatever like the death capita or death per capita or whatever, it's higher than it typically is even then.
Oh man, they got a double serial killer?
Yeah, possibly a triple serial killer. There's just like a lot. The thing is that like a lot of people are either dying or going missing and there doesn't seem to be any pattern. This is my girl shut the fuck up number two. So Charlie wants Bella to think about her other friends, specifically Jacob. Like they're having a conversation and Charlie is like, I think that you need to hang out with people that are not Edward. Why don't you give Jacob a call?
He's not even saying you and Edward need to break up. He's saying you just also need to hang out with other people.
Yeah, don't forget your other friends.
Incredibly reasonable.
Yeah. That's going to be a problem because of the whole werewolves versus vampires thing. Edward continuously tells Bella that she is not allowed to see Jacob because he is a werewolf and therefore dangerous. Never mind that he, Edward, is a vampire. Bella does not want to see Jacob either to smooth things out or possibly apologize.
Okay, so the werewolves are dangerous. In what way? Do werewolves also hurt people?
Well, so the big concern is that the way that the wolves shift is when they get angry, they become werewolves.
Okay.
And their anger is kind of always simmering under the surface. So anything that makes them a little bit extra angry, tips them over the edge, can make them turn into a werewolf, and then they might lash out at whoever's close to them. See Samueli and his wife Emily.
Yeah, I guess we did have that in the last one. There were
Yeah.
like some scars and things. Okay, I guess.
And there was a bit like after Bella found out about the werewolves, she was going with Jacob to like go see Samueli to tell him about vampire shit.
Yeah.
And one of the other guys there, I think it was Paul.
Yeah, he got real angry and
Yeah, he was like, "Why would you bring the leech lover here?" And he turned into a vampire, and then he and Jacob fought for a bit. So she does want to see Jacob, or maybe she doesn't. Charlie says she should reconnect with him because he knows that she'll handle it because she's a good person, which leads Bella to think, if I don't handle it, does it make me a bad person? Yes, it does. It does make you a bad person if you don't go talk to your friend Jacob.
I mean, yeah, that one particular thing doesn't make you a bad person. It's more the whole everything.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
I'm giving her a lot of grace, Bella was going through something terrible the last few months, and she leaned on Jacob to help her through that. If I'm looking at things from the outside, and frankly inside of Bella's head, she knew Jacob had a huge crush on her and used the attention he gave her to make herself feel better after getting dumped, subtly encouraging his feelings to keep him around for free bike repair and hugs. Then...
Free bike repair and hugs.
Yeah.
That slut.
When Edward came back, she dropped him like week-old sushi. Bella was depressed, but that's an explanation, not an excuse. Not explaining and apologizing to Jacob does make her a bad person. You're still accountable for your actions and how you hurt people, even if you're in a bad headspace.
Yes.
Which then brings us to one of the more disgusting things that Edward does in his quest to control Bella. Do you remember that pin that we stuck in your head?
Oh, no. Oh, wait, why are we sticking it in my head?
You know, just to keep it there.
There are other places we can put pins.
All right, wherever you want to put it.
It's such a sunny day. Such a sunny day. Such a sunny day.
So Bella decides that she's going to go talk to Jacob.
Yeah.
Like any fugitive, I couldn't help looking over my shoulder a few times while I jogged back to my truck, but the night was so black that there was really no point. I had to feel my way along the side of the truck to the handle. My eyes were just beginning to adjust as I shoved my keys to the ignition. I twisted them hard to the left, but instead of roaring deafeningly to life, the engine just clicked. I tried it again with the same results. And then a small motion in my peripheral vision made me jump. Gah! I gasped in shock when I saw that I was not alone in the cab. Edward sat very still, a faint, bright spot in the darkness, only his hands moving as he turned a mysterious black object around and around. He stared at the object as he spoke. Alice called, he murmured. Alice. Damn, I'd forgotten to count for her in my plans. He must have had her watching me. She got nervous when your future rather abruptly disappeared 5 minutes ago. My eyes, already wide with surprise, popped wider. Because she can't see the wolves, you know, he explained in the same low murmur. Had you forgotten that? When you decided to mingle your fate with theirs, you disappear too. You couldn't know that part, I realize. But can you understand why that might make me feel a little anxious? Alice saw you disappear and she couldn't even tell if you'd come home or not. Your future got lost, just like theirs. We're not sure why this is. Some natural defense they're born with. He spoke as if he were talking to himself now, still looking at the piece of my truck's engine as he twirled it in his hand. That doesn't seem entirely likely since I haven't had any trouble reading their thoughts. The Blacks, at least. Carlyle theories it's because their lives are so ruled by transformations. It's a more involuntary reaction than a decision, utterly unpredictable, and it changes everything about them. In that instant when they shift from one form to the other, they don't really exist. The future can't hold them. I listened to his musing in silence. I'll put your car back together in time for school in case you'd like to drive yourself, he murmured to me after a minute. He took the spark plugs out of her car.
Okay. I want to do two things here.
Yeah.
One, fucking gross. Edward, what the fuck? Two, can I just say, that was like weirdly good writing?
Yeah.
From Stephanie Meyer.
I'll give her that.
And here's the thing about it. if you just pulled that out of context and I knew nothing about Twilight, I'd be like, wow, what an interesting, like, dark anti-hero. He's got all these, like, you know, layers to him and stuff, except I know Edward, and he's not that.
No.
He's a boring...
He's a controlling piece of shit.
Yeah, he's someone we're supposed to love and think is amazing, and, like, no, that's a great musing from a complicated, possibly evil character.
Yeah.
Like, kind of interesting. Kind of an interesting thought process there. These books would be so much better if we weren't beholden to the idea that they have to be this romance. Like, if they were just, like, something else, they'd be way more interesting.
He also says, shut your window if you want me to stay away tonight, I'll understand. And she doesn't. She leaves the window open so that he can come cuddle her to sleep. I genuinely don't have words to explain how revolting this is. I hate this so much.
And you like this one?
I hate that part. There are a couple parts in this that are really gross to me. But it does get, like, there are parts that are enjoyable.
See, this is the part where maybe Bella should be like, huh, you know, this guy fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
also the fact that Alice saw that and then told Edward about it, minus 10 cool points.
Okay. I can give Alice some leeway on that. Because if Alice just suddenly didn't see your future anymore after she was always seeing your future a little bit, she might think you're dead and be like, oh, Edward, I can't see your future. And then Edward runs over and it's just like, oh, she's just going to see her friend Jacob. Well, I'm going to rip her spark plugs out.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty fucked up thing.
And
I have to imagine that if Bella went to Alice and said, hey, Alice, Edward really doesn't want me to go talk to Jacob. I just need to go settle some things. Like, I think Alice would probably be like, okay, maybe... let me know, or, like, you know, give me your cell phone number. I'll, like, keep in touch with you. I don't know. Just something like that.
Put a pin in it.
Oh, fucking goddamn it!
So around this time, Edward gets really pushy about Bella going to go see her mom in Florida. He had previously, as, like, a birthday gift or something, bought her, like, plane tickets to go see Renee, and, like... they just haven't gone yet. And because Edward absolutely...
That's not how plane tickets work.
Well, they're like standby tickets, basically, or something like that. They're like vouchers for plane tickets.
Okay, I guess I guess you could probably buy a gift card. I don't fly enough to know how this works. I just didn't think you could book a flight like that.
Yeah, so Edward gets really pushy about this, and because he absolutely has to get his way all of the time, he triangulates with Charlie, and they force Bella on a weekend trip out of town, like a month before the end of the school year.
Weird.
There's just an also weird note here where they're like, Phil's coaching a high school baseball team. Can you coach high school baseball and be in the minor leagues at the same time, or is there like a weird conflict? Like time conflict.
I have to imagine that you would have trouble being able to make all of the, like, the games and things.
Yeah, because there are 3 million of them every year.
Yeah, and if you're in a minor league team, I guess if you're in the Florida League and you're only playing Florida teams, it might not be as bad, but you're going to be, like, on the plane or on the bus, like, going everywhere, and you're not going to be there that often.
Yeah. Renee is very insightful about Bella and Edward's relationship. She describes Bella as orienting herself around Edward, like gravity. And then Bella and Edward are both really condescending to and about Renee. Edward describes her mind as childlike, and Bella says she's so simple that she sees things other people miss. Gross.
Simple is not stupid.
Simple is not stupid, but they're just really mean to her.
Yeah, that is really mean. It's about your own mother.
It's your own mother, yeah. After getting back, Charlie tells Bella that Jacob was very anxious to talk to her while she was away, and he calls her as soon as she's back in the house. Bella thinks that he's trying to figure out if she was bit while they were gone, like if they went to Florida to do the bitening.
The bitening.
But, you know, she calls him back, and he's like, oh, okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow at school, and then hangs up, and she's like, we go to different schools, what are you talking about? But he shows up at Bella and Edward's school the next day.
Oh, good. Great.
Yeah. He's there to talk to Edward, actually.
You know what? Fair. I think that's just like a, hey, I don't think it's cool what you're doing here, bud.
Not quite, but
previously,
like before the Florida trip, Alice had gotten a weird vision and then was acting all shifty, and Edward was also acting shifty because he obviously can read Alice's mind. And he was just like, oh, Alice saw Jasper talking to some of his old family. Don't worry about it. Let's go to Florida. Turns out that's not what happened. Do you remember?
I'm
There's
terrified
like
right
three
now.
people in the entire world in this book. Do you remember Victoria from the last book and the book before it?
Yeah, the redhead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's back and she wants to kill Bella still.
Oh my god. Get another character trait. Jesus.
Yeah, so she's back and she's hunting for Bella. And Emmett was like chasing her all over the Pacific Northwest, and he accidentally chased her into Quellet Land. And the werewolves didn't like that, and so Emmett and Paul, one of the werewolves, got in a little fight, and Victoria got away. Edward and Alice both knew that Victoria was back and was planning to kill Bella, and neither of them told Bella about it. They just decided to get her out of the area.
Okay. On one hand, I think that's manipulative and gross, but on the other hand, Bella's so fucking stupid that if they told her, she'd be like, oh, I have to stay because it's my fault. The people are going to be in trouble, because that's how she was in the second book.
She's like that later in this book also.
God.
Yeah. So Jacob showed at school, up at their school, to like tell Bella what's happening.
Yeah.
And also to tell Jacob, hey, keep your people off of my fucking land.
I mean, sure, fine, whatever.
So this little bit here is both good and bad writing, I think. There's good writing. There's nice planting and payoff with, Bella noticing that Alice has that vision and then, like, putting all of that stuff together with, like, Edward trying to get her out of town. Planting and payoff. Good job. 1 gold star.
Yeah, fair enough.
Bad writing. Shitty manipulative boyfriend. Very dumb main character that we've been told is pretty smart.
Yep.
Because Bella just, like, she's constantly talking about how scared she is that there's a vampire who has sworn eternal vengeance against her, and, like, always forgets that that's a thing.
Yeah, how
later.
would you not, like, how would you be able to sleep at night? Like, how would you not be thinking about that all the time?
It's not even the how would you be able to not be able to sleep at night. It's like, how would you not, anytime anything bad happens, how would you not think, oh yeah, it's the vampire that wants to murder me? If there's a vampire who wanted to murder me, if I dropped my cup and it broke and I cut my foot, I'd be like, God, it's the vampire that wants to murder me.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad writing, there's an extremely annoying passage where Bella is trying to not think about how her friend and boyfriend want to kill each other, and the homicidal vampire is out for her neck, and the string of murders happening in Seattle, and what she's doing for college / the first year of vampire life. So she cleans her whole kitchen and starts lighting up the magnets, and there are 2 magnets that won't go together, and she keeps trying to force them, but they keep springing back apart, and this goes on for nearly a whole page. Like, girl, we get it. The magnets are Edward and Jacob.
Wow, baby's first metaphor.
This book sucks. So Edward has forbidden Bella from going to see Jacob and even physically restrained her a few times. But one day when Edward is on a hunting trip... Oh, also Edward's been skipping eating because he wants to be around Bella all of the time to make sure that she doesn't go see Jacob.
I can think of, like, 3 reasons why that's a stupid idea.
I know, right? So, like, she's like, why are your eyes always so black? Why aren't you going to go eat? And he's like, I have to be here to protect you from Jacob. And so finally he, like, goes to go eat.
And this is the better one of the first 3?
Yeah.
This
Donovan, do you
sucks.
remember how boring the first book was?
Oh, at least the first one felt like it, like, sequentially made sense. This is just, like, all over the place.
Yeah. So one day when Edward is on a hunting trip, Jacob shows up at Bella's school and she jumps on the back of his motorcycle and they speed away to go talk for a while.
Cool. Good, I guess.
They have a long talk about everything that's happened so far, and some of that is important, but we've come to our first grammatical monstrosity. Hold, please.
Ooh, oh, always fun.
His hostility was wearing on me, chafing against the raw, semicolon. It hurt to have him angry with me, period. It reminded me of the bleak afternoon, long ago, when, under orders from Sam, he told me that we couldn't be friends.
What,
yes.
What a horrible way to put that.
That is 2 commas and 2 dashes in one sentence. I took his scowl, the wolves weren't thrilled that the legends of the vampires possessing supernatural gifts were true, for yes, and proceeded with the account of my race through Italy to rescue Edward. I kept it as succinct as possible, leaving out anything that wasn't essential. Girl, I wish you'd kept this book succinct. Also,
Yeah.
I kept it succinct, leaving out anything that wasn't essential. That's what succinct means. That's what it means. You don't have to say it afterwards. You can just say I kept it. There's a whole second sentence. I have to calm down. Again, if you like these books, it's fine. Please admit to me and admit to yourself that they're not well written.
Yeah.
I kept it succinct with leaving out any information that wasn't essential. I'm going to go to sleep, and that's going to be tattooed on the inside of my eyelids tonight.
Matter.
It's bad. It's bad, and it's tiring.
It makes me tired.
It makes me tired. It's tiring. It makes me tired. In the course of this talk between Bella and Jacob, he asks why she loves Edward. And Bella says this. I love him, not because he's beautiful or because he's rich, I spat the word at Jacob. I'd much rather he weren't either one. It would even out the gaps between us just a little bit, because he'd still be the most loving and unselfish and brilliant and decent person I'd ever met. Of course I love him.
No.
How is that hard to understand?
That's not true, Bella. That's so not, unless you've met the worst people in the world.
I literally underlined unselfish and wrote, babes, what the fuck?
Do you know what that word means?
Yeah, no. I tagged this both
He's
as
so unselfish. He tore the spark plugs out of my car so I couldn't go see my friends.
Right?
What the fuck?
I tagged this both as a girl what the fuck and as bad writing. Edward is one of the most selfish characters in this series. He wants Bella all to himself. He wants to control where she goes and who she sees. He selfishly left the last book because he couldn't deal with her being adjacent to danger. And most of all, he selfishly came back after he left for Denali. If he was such a selfless person, he would have simply stayed away from her and avoided putting not only her but his whole family in danger. There's also not a single instance of Edward doing anything that is not self-serving in this or any of the other 3 books. Like, every single action he takes is for the ultimate benefit of Edward.
Yeah.
Edward is mad at Bella for the Jacob visit, so the next time he has to go hunt, he bribes Alice with a yellow Porsche to kidnap Bella for a sleepover.
So, stop.
Yeah.
He's got Porsche money?
Yeah, they're stupid rich.
I mean, I knew they were, like, kind of rich because, you know, they buy a fucking art museum house in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
And, you know, they can all go to college whenever they want to at any point for some reason. Hey, but wait, hold on. Does Alice not have money? But
No, Alice, no. Okay, here's the weird thing. They all have money because they're all very old, and they don't need to, like, buy basic necessities. Like, you know, they don't have to buy food. They don't have to pay for gas or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Any of the kind of, like...
Heat.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do any of that.
You don't have to take a shower if you're a vampire. You naturally smell of daffodils and freesia or whatever. So, like, they don't have to buy any of the basic normal bullshit. Yeah. Right? Edward at some point says something about Alice, like, playing the stock market for fun because she can, like, see the future.
Yeah. 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 You know what? Good point. Yeah. If she could see the future, she knows what the stocks are going to be. Yeah. She could pick the lottery numbers.
Yeah. And also, I mean, Carlisle has been a doctor forever. And if he doesn't need to, like, spend money on shit, he can just put that shit in the bank and then...
And also, you know, I obviously there might be something to do with you got to be worried about getting caught or whatever, but you could just put some stuff in a high yield savings account and then just live 100 years. Yeah. You'll have some money in there.
And yeah, will it to your nephew who looks suspiciously exactly like you.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, so he bribes her with this Porsche because it's the same one that she used when she and Bella ran away to Italy and, like, raced to Volturi to try and save him from committing suicide. But I don't know why he had to buy her when she could have bought it for herself. Yeah. It means more if it comes from him, I guess. I don't know.
This book's dumb.
Yeah. So Alice kidnaps Bella for the weekend when Edward goes hunting.
Kidnaps or, like, hey, we're gonna have fun and hang out, but I'm actually just distracting you.
We're gonna have fun and hang out, but you're not allowed to leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she tells Carlisle that Bella's coming over to her house and that Edward's not going to be there. Not Carlisle, sorry. Charlie. God, why is it 2 C's?
And they're both the dads.
And they're both dads. Yeah. And Charlie is like, oh, Edward's not going to be there? Yeah, sure. Go hang out with Alice. Alice gives Bella a mani-pedi, and she/Edward bought a giant bed for Edward's room so that Bella can sleep in there. Because he didn't have a bed before because they don't need to sleep.
Okay.
Bella hates this bed. She doesn't want to sleep in it for some reason. As like a useless act of rebellion, she refuses to sleep in it and instead sleeps on the couch. And so she's on the couch when Rosalie sneaks into the room, and then we get Rosalie's backstory.
Oh boy.
So, Rosalie was the daughter of a wealthy banker in the 30s, and they were wealthy enough that their family was largely unaffected by the Great Depression. She was rich and beautiful and wanted for nothing, except she admits to being jealous of her very plain friend who is married and has a cherubic little son. And Rosalie is like, I hate the fact that she had something that I didn't have yet, and I desperately wanted to get married and have a kid so that my life would be even more perfect than hers, and I could show her that I was better than her.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that seems to be in line with her character so far.
Yeah. Oh, so she also knew of the Cullens and didn't like them very much because they were more beautiful than she was.
Oh,
Her parents got her engaged to the son of an even wealthier banker, and Rosalie thinks that once she gets married and has her own children, she'll never have to suffer the bitter pangs of being jealous of anyone else ever again.
That's not how it works, bud.
Yeah. And that other people will burn with jealousy that they aren't her, and that's the way things are supposed to be. But coming home from seeing said plain Jane friend, Rosalie runs into her fiance and a bunch of his friends out on the street, and they are very drunk. Super big trigger warning.
Oh, God. Okay.
Super big trigger warning. Rosalie's fiance allows his friends to rape Rosalie, and then they leave her to die in the snow. And that's where Carlo finds her and turns her into a vampire.
Okay. Wow. That sucks a lot.
It sucks so hard. Like, it's simply bad. It's just bad. Rosalie then, when she becomes a vampire, goes on a Tarantino-style vengeance quest, killing all of the men responsible for her death.
Okay,
Her
I
former
want to watch.
fiancé.
I want to watch that movie.
I want to watch that movie so bad.
Oh, that sounds like a badass movie.
Right? She saved her former fiance for last, and she said that she killed him while she was wearing her wedding dress, and he was like in a room completely surrounded by candles.
Yeah.
Because he was like trying to ward her away. And she also boasts as having the distinction of having never drunk any human blood because she didn't want their gross, dirty, rapist blood to sully her.
Yeah, this is badass. I
Yeah.
want to watch the fuck out of this. This should be like a fucking anime. This would be great.
Yeah.
I would watch the hell out of this. Sorry, Vampire Bride, like fucking
Vengeance
like,
Quest?
Vengeance Quest? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I spit on your grave, or wait, is that what the one it is?
I have no
Something
idea.
like that, yeah. But she's a vampire, and she's just gonna fucking murder you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
God, that's awesome.
Side salad, all throughout the book, people keep saying about like how once Bella turns into a vampire, they're gonna have to like hide her away in Alaska or whatever because she's gonna be like a crazy monster who's gonna kill a bunch of people, and Bella doesn't want to murder anybody, so they're gonna hide her from humans for a while. But Rosalie didn't eat anybody. She became a vampire and then has never eaten a human. So I don't know why they're all worried about Bella.
Gold Star Vampire.
Gold Star Vampire.
By the way, check out my new band, Gold Star Vampire.
So part of Rosalie's whole deal was that she was so used to everybody wanting her, but as she was going through the transformation, she heard Edward talk about her with disdain. She was like, I don't want to be with her. I don't like her. She's not like us. She's mean and petty and cruel. And Rosalie heard that and was like, all right, fuck you then.
I mean, he can read her thoughts.
Yeah. Rosalie was supposed to be a maid for Edward, but he didn't want her, and she never really got over that. She told herself that Edward just didn't have feelings like that, but then Bella came along, and Edward wanted Bella so bad that he would risk exposure, and all of her jealousies came back.
Okay. So, this is at least a character that has a motivation.
Yeah.
Like, she's actually got something about her personality that makes sense, and this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
This is one chapter.
Yeah.
And then we never hear about it again.
I was about to say, I'm like, are we ever going to get any resolution to this plot? No, of course not.
This has always felt off to me like the character of Rosalie is supposed to be a cautionary tale, but I have no idea what the moral is supposed to be. If it's something about beauty being your downfall, that falls flat because we're constantly told how beautiful all of the Cullens are and that Bella wants to be a vampire because she gets to be beautiful like them. If it's supposed to be that jealousy is Rosalie's greatest flaw, that doesn't quite work either. She continues to be jealous of Bella right through the next book, and Bella is jealous of Rosalie's beauty right back. It really feels like Smyer wanted to write a mean girl character and then had a bunch of terrible trauma happen to her. But the consolation prize is that she gets to be a vampire now, so shrug.
Man, wow, that's okay. I have not kind of thought about this. I've sort of like hinted at this as we've gone along, but I'm gonna just sort of like externalize this thought right now. What's really frustrating about Twilight is that it's not so much that it's bad, because it is. Fine, whatever. It's more that there are so many ideas in there that are kind of interesting that, wow, a good writer could do a lot with.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing done with it. And in general, the concept of Native American werewolves and European colonizer vampires, already a good start. We could do some cool stuff. We could talk about, like, you know, culture. Sinners just did this kind of shit, you know, where you're taking like a real life thing and it's sort of like a backdrop for like this supernatural fight or you know, conflict or whatever. There's a lot of cool ideas in there, but no, it's just about this shitty love triangle. Why did we allow her to do this?
I don't know. She can't keep getting away
She
with
can't
it.
keep getting away with it.
Anyway, so the next day, Bella does manage to give Alice the slip at some point after getting the day off from work, and she goes to go see Jacob again.
Sure, fine.
Here's when we first hear about werewolf imprinting. So we get the story about Sam Yulee and Leah Clearwater. Now, I hear you, Donovan. I thought Sam was married to Emily. We said it earlier in the podcast.
Yeah.
You are right. But before he and Emily got together, he was dating Leah Clearwater, Emily's cousin. Sam Yulee and Leah Clearwater were high school sweethearts, and they made all of the typical promises. We're going to get married and have a bunch of kids and live together happily ever after.
Okay.
Sorry. And then after the werewolfening, Emily comes down to visit Leah, and Sam sees Emily, and then he imprints on her. And Sam and Emily get to live in disgustingly beautiful bliss, and Leah just gets to sit there and watch it every goddamn day.
So imprinting's like, they don't do it on purpose, right? It's
No, it just happens,
It just happens.
You cannot control it.
Okay. Is it reciprocal? Like,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Leah also loves Sam.
No, not what I meant. It, like, when Sam imprinted on Emily, does Emily also, like, imprint on, like, is she also like, oh, I'm now in love with you too? Like, does it work that way?
It's kind of hard to figure out.
Yeah.
Because
it would be fucking weird if you imprinted on somebody and then they were like, yeah, but I only like you as a friend or not at all. And then what are you going to do?
Well, okay, so there's a bit in this book, I didn't write it out in the script, but there's a bit in this book where, as Jacob is telling this, one of the other werewolves, whose name I don't remember, comes to the beach that they're at, and he has a small child with him.
Oh.
And they're going to go play, and this is like a 3-year-old, right? I think it's Embry. I'm just going to say Embry so that we have a name. I honestly don't remember, and I'm not going to look it up. But,
it's Tornbum.
But this small child is not his sister or niece or whatever. It is the girl that he is imprinted on. One of the werewolves has imprinted on a toddler.
Smire, you could have just not. You could have just not. You could have just not.
And so Jacob describes it as... so Embry is like always going to take care of her and like always going to be there. He says something at one point about like he's always delighted to play whatever toddler games she wants to do. So like he's like, I sat and watched him play peekaboo for an hour straight and never once get bored or tired of it.
Smire, you could have just not. You could have just. Could you just not have done that, please?
And so he also says that this little girl is going to have the best babysitter, the best older brother, and the best friend that she's ever going to have in her entire life. And then one day she's going to turn around and realize that she's been in love with him the whole time.
Barf, barf, barf. Oh my God. What?
Yeah, so it's not like we never have like a girl really give their perspective on what happens when they've been imprinted on.
It's an amazing thing that for a book like written ostensibly by a woman, we don't get any like female perspectives on anything important.
Yeah, there are, by the end of the series, there are several other like cool-out women who have been imprinted upon, and like Bella could have at any point asked any of them like, hey, what do you think about all of this that's going on? Doesn't have a conversation.
Hey, you're
with
a
any
person,
of them.
right? No?
No?
Oh,
Okay.
Why? Smire, I must ask you, why did you do this? You could have just not. I keep saying it, but you could have just not written that. You didn't have to. It's not like it's a thing that exists in reality, and so you had to, like, take it on. You could have just said, that doesn't happen. Let's keep going.
Yeah, you could have had like a built-in, we don't know why, but you can't imprint on anybody unless they're at least, I don't know, 16 years old.
Or just not do it.
Or just not do it.
It's not important.
Yeah, so back to Sam and Leah, right? I mean, Sam and Emily.
Sure,
Goddamn.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So last book, when Bella was talking about how Sam and Emily just fit together, it's because they're perfect mates. Oh yeah, Jacob describes being imprinting on someone as suddenly she's the only thing that matters. Like gravity isn't holding you down anymore, she is. So Sam dumped Leah to be perfectly disgustingly happy with her cousin, and Leah Clearwater, my beloved, walks around with that every goddamn day. Yeah. Leah becomes more of a character in the next book, and I love her so much. I love Leah so much.
Do they do they make any allusions or comparisons to like imprinting with like, oh, like Edward imprinted on Bella kind of in
No,
his
but that
own
is a
way?
weird thing, is that
Yeah.
like so vampires also can have mates. When you like, the bond between vampires is like very strong. Like, you know, Victoria has sworn this eternal vengeance quest against Bella because Bella was the reason that James died. But like, the Cullens never describe like coming and being with someone as being like, and then I saw them and they were perfect and I love them forever. It's kind of like, hey, you're also a vampire. Let's date, I guess.
I mean, the dating pool is not very big.
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's as far as I can tell, there's nothing that like pulls two vampires together as like, you are my perfect mate. Oh, Jacob also says that according to the stories, imprinting is really rare, but I'm pretty sure by the end of the series, like over half of the werewolves have a mate. Remind me to do some math on that in the last book.
Yes, Hannah, please do werewolf math. Note to Hannah, do werewolf math.
All right, so might as well add this bit in here. So Edward figures out that there's been vampire activity inside Bella's house during the slumber party / hostage taking. It doesn't really smell like Victoria, but they're not ruling her out. And also of concern is that the Voltoria might be dropping by to see if Bella has been vamped yet. Edward and Jacob, and by extension the Cullens and the Quillets, come to something of a truth on hunting the intruder vampires, and Bella is allowed to go to the res for werewolf cookout and story hour.
Oh.
Yeah.
As a white person who does also desire to be invited to the cookout, that sounds like a really nice moment.
It's not like they have, like, because Stephanie Meyer doesn't know anything about actual native practices. They're just, like, roasting hot dogs on the beach. Like, it's not...
Yeah, sounds great.
I was just going to say, it's not like anything like, you know, traditional Quillette or native Pacific Northwest food or whatever.
Yes, because Stephanie Meyer doesn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
It's very clear that she just picked a name out of a hat and said, that's the type of people we're dealing with here.
Yeah. So over the course of the rest of this book, Bella hangs out on the res a couple of times with Jacob.
Okay. Do they say on the res in the book?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just quoting that?
Yeah.
Because I was a little bit like, why do you keep saying on the res?
Yeah.
Okay, if it's from the book, that's fine.
Yeah. So, but Jacob isn't picking her up. Edward insists on dropping her off, and Bella is uncomfortable with this, and even says it feels like a custodial drop-off. Side salad, I really hate the passage where Edward and Bella are talking about her hanging out with Jacob. For me, he amended quietly, and now, I suppose, he continued with a wry smile. You have something you want to ask me? I stared at him blankly. I do. Or maybe not, he grinned. I was rather under the impression that you'd promised to ask my permission to go to some sort of werewolf soiree tonight. Eavesdropping again? He grinned, just a bit, at the very end. Well, I wasn't going to ask you anyway. I'd figured you had enough to stress about. He put his hand under my chin and held my face so that he could read my eyes. Would you like to go? It's no big thing. Don't worry about it. You don't have to ask my permission, Bella. I'm not your father, thank heaven for that. Perhaps you should ask Charlie, though. But you know Charlie will say yes. I do have a bit more insight into his probable answer than most people, it's true. I just stared at him, trying to understand what he wanted, and trying to put out of my mind the yearning I felt to go to La Push so that I wouldn't be swayed by my own wishes. It was stupid to want to hang out with a bunch of big idiot half-wolf boys right now, when there was so much that was frightening and unexplained going on. Of course, that was exactly why I wanted to go. I wanted to escape the death threats just for a few hours, to be the less mature, more reckless Bella who could laugh it off with Jacob, if only briefly, but that didn't matter. The line, I stared at him trying to understand what he wanted. Ew.
Yeah.
And also, like, he's been saying this whole time, you're not allowed to go hang out with Jacob. And then he says, you don't have to ask my permission, Bella. We need to do that episode about the gaslights.
Yeah, we do, because this is some serious gaslighting bullshit. You don't need to ask my permission. I'm just going to take the fucking spark plugs out of your car.
Right?
Good fucking God.
Anyway, it's Werewolf Cookout and Story Hour!
Yay!
Bella and we, the audience, get to listen to Billy Black and Quill's grandfather tell stories from the tribe. First about them being spirit warriors, and then about how they learned how to turn into wolves. I want to state again that these are not stories authentic to actual Quillette peoples, and that you can and should find real Quillette storytellers sharing their history in their own words.
Yeah, you should, in general, just, like, try to learn more about the native peoples who lived here before us.
And who still live here,
and who still live here to this day. I will admit, I'm not doing enough of that for myself. I'm really glad we got to go to Cahokia, but that's like a 1,000 years ago. That's not current people who are living here still. And, we should do more of that.
So Bella gets really stuck on this one particular story, one particular part of one of the stories. It's long and complicated, but the short of it is that the werewolves like find and kill a vampire, and then that vampire's mate shows up at the tribe, and like she's hell-bent on killing everybody. So the first wolf, like the first spirit warrior who managed to turn into a wolf, who is now like 150 years old, turns back into a werewolf for the last time and attacks the vampire. This fight is going badly, and so his third wife, because he's been alive for so long, he's been married 3 times.
I see, okay.
Yeah. His third wife, in an effort to try and save him, stabs herself to distract the vampire, and that gives the vampire that gives her husband just enough of an opening to kill the vampire. But also she dies, and also the first wolf dies. It's a very sad story.
Yeah.
But Bella is fascinated by this story of a plain, normal human girl who managed to distract an enemy just enough to ensure the person that she loved could survive. Wonder if that will come back at some point, I wonder.
God damn it, Bella. How do you always learn the wrong lesson from everything?
All right, and that's about it for this episode of Eclipse. I've got about 150 pages left to read of this book, but like there's less objectionable stuff in the last little bit. Yeah. And like, it just drags for a while in some places. But yeah.
Okay, well, golly.
Thoughts?
I mean, this is just, there's not enough stuff happening. It's just so boring.
Yeah. So if we're talking about like the plot of the Twilight books, like again, it's a romance. It's supposed to be a romance. So the plot is these two people are falling in love. So like Twilight, you could say, is the Bella falls in love with Edward book, and then New Moon is Edward leaves, and so Bella starts to fall in love with Jacob. And then Eclipse,
I don't think she fell in love with Jacob. I think
if you could, like, okay, I'm not saying that's what it is.
Yeah.
This is the argument. Like, this is the plot of the book. The plot is a love story, the plot of the first one is vampire romance, the plot of the second one is werewolf romance, the plot of the third one is when Bella ultimately makes her choice.
Yeah.
But Bella was never going to choose anybody other than Edward.
Yeah. And,
like, she says it multiple times in this book.
And the arc of the 4 is Bella will eventually become a vampire.
Yeah.
That is you can tell from the very beginning that that's the arc. She wants to be with Edward forever, and that means she has to become a vampire. And, there's all these complications to that. Okay, fine. From zoom out, I understand. But, like, they're all the dumbest possible choices.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's very good.
No.
It's like saying Nickelback's a shitty band. It's like, yeah, everyone knows. Like, it's not, this isn't like you're really breaking new ground here by like critiquing this thing. I get it. I'm not special for having this thought, but just every time I listen to you talk about this book and I watch the movies and all that kind of stuff, it's like, I want to see where the quality comes from, or at least like what people like, obviously, me and, I don't fuck with Harry Potter anymore for obvious reasons, but like there were at least things about Harry Potter that like were good and I understood why people liked them.
Yeah.
There was a lot of dumb bullshit that we didn't realize at the time, and like looking back, it's like, yeah, maybe we should have realized that stuff. But like there were redeeming qualities in there, and there were like interesting characters, and you could kind of be like, okay, like I can see why this became such a big deal, and you could like see why aging up with the crowd that was reading the books, like that was an interesting thing. Fine, sure. Like there's things that I don't like that I look at and I go, I get why people like it. Twilight, every time I hear about it, I'm just like, why is this interesting? Edward sucks. Bella sucks. The vampires aren't interesting. The werewolves aren't interesting. Nothing happening is that interesting. There's like some interesting ideas that don't get fleshed out. And then this became like one of the best-selling book series of all time. Like one of the top, we looked at the top media franchises of all time. It's like a top 50 media franchise of all time between the books and the movies and all the other shit. Why? What is here that warrants any of that stuff? Like, if Twilight had been a semi-successful paranormal romance book that like some of the weird girls in high school liked, and then maybe it had like a movie franchise that did okay. I don't know. And, you know, you would think back and be like, oh, yeah, that was a thing. Fine, whatever. But it dominated pop culture for about a decade.
It spawned an entire genre and also, like, the whole big, like, rise of vampire media, essentially.
Yeah, urban fantasy, like, became a thing. I mean, it was already a thing, but, like, urban fantasy became a huge thing because of Twilight.
Yeah.
And then Twilight sort of, paved the way for the next sort of like run of young adult like romance that has become a huge thing.
Yeah, I don't think it is unfair to say that, like, you know, the Fourth Wing series wouldn't be as popular as it is if it weren't for Twilight.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Yeah, there's a bunch of that kind of stuff with like the people who read Twilight as a teenager and loved it and then grew up, like, they're all reading Fourth Wing now.
Yep.
Yeah, I hate these books. I also really want to make clear, I think that they're bad, and the fact that I think that they're bad is a separate thought from these are written for teenage girls.
Yeah.
I really desperately want to make clear that you can make things for teenage girls, and there are things that teenage girls can enjoy, and they don't inherently have to be bad. Twilight got a lot of hate for being the kind of thing that girls are into, and that's unfair.
Yeah.
You should not hate Twilight because it's something girls like. You should hate Twilight because it's written badly.
Can I just say?
Yeah.
So circa 2011, Donovan was a brony. I was into My Little Pony, the Friends of His Magic show. People got weird with it. Don't get me wrong. A lot of the people who got into it got weird with it, and, you know, I'm not going to get too much into it. But the core basis of the fandom of that show at the time was that this is a show that should be just a toyetic cash grab for little kids, and yet it's actually really good and has a lot of heart, and it's still made for children. It was not made for adults.
No.
That, like, it should be, I should make this very clear. Like, later seasons, they got a little, like, referential, like, ha ha ha, see, we have all these more, like, older fans, and so they started to kind of make jokes about it. But the first, like, 2 or 3 seasons, it was very solidly aimed at children. But it was so well done that other people watched it and went, you know,
this is quality.
This is quality. This is well done. And that's why it was, I don't want to say subversive to like it, but it was sort of this like really nice thing where people were just like, no, I just really like it because it's colorful and it's happy and it's got some interesting stuff going on. The animation's good. Characters are genuinely funny. Like, you can just enjoy that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Twilight is not bad because it's made for girls.
No.
My Little Pony Friendship is Magic was good. And it's not despite being made for girls, because that's not true either. It was made for little girls, and it was good. And other people can like it.
Yes.
Twilight is bad. And it has nothing to do with the fact that it's made for teenage girls. It's just not very good.
Yeah.
By the way, lots of things made for teenage boys that are very bad. That are just trash. Absolute trash. Have you played Call of Duty? Oh my god.
I'd say, oh no, the Call of Duty fans are going to come after us, but they're too busy killing each other and saying slurs, I guess.
Yeah, Andrew Tate's not going to be on our fucking podcast. The Call of Duty boys aren't going to be listening.
Oh,
and look,
fair.
I actually liked a few Call of Duty games. I played them when I was younger. Some of them were pretty okay. But we're on, like, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 now, and it's just like, shoot the brown people and win a prize. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here, man? Like, I don't...
I said one, there's a post that's like, boys are like, what's the point of Stardew Valley? It's just doing tasks. Okay, what's the point of Call of Duty? It's just doing tasks, except the task is kill guys.
Yeah. Hannah, you don't understand. Shooting people is a good thing, and farming is for dumb idiots. I don't see how you don't get this.
Yeah. I don't get that, just like I also don't get why I kind of get why people like Twilight. I understand that people can put themselves in Bella's shoes and for a little bit fantasize about what it's like to be loved by the most beautiful boy in the world. And much like real life, I can understand why and how you would overlook all of the flaws that Edward has. Edward is like constantly giving Bella very expensive presents and like insisting that he only wants what's best for her, and he's so beautiful, so he must be so good. But he's also like, you know, he's very controlling. He does not let her go see her friends. He took the spark plugs out of her car. It's the way he talks to and about her is really gross. And so I just never understood the fantasy of wanting to date Edward. So I was like, this guy sucks.
Edward is written like a character that you would dump at the end of the book.
Yeah.
That's how he's written. He's not like evil. He's just written as a sort of shitty boyfriend, and yet the book keeps trying to convince you that he's actually amazing and great and you should be in love with him. And that's fundamentally where Twilight fails.
Yeah.
If Twilight had been a book, if Edward had been a better character, Twilight would have worked better. If Edward had stayed the character that he is and Bella's like arc is realizing I actually don't want to do this, that might have also been an interesting book. But that's not what happens.
Yeah. If Edward had insisted that, like, no, I don't want you to be a vampire, and then he did what she was afraid of and fell in love with some other vampire, and then Bella got turned into one and then haunted him for the rest of forever, trying to force him to love her, that would be a better book.
Maybe.
Anyway, that's been the episode. Bye! Sorry, I'm ripping the cord out of this parachute. Is that an expression? Anyway, toodaloo! Thanks for listening. You can find us at mythingyourthing.com or at mythingyourthingpod on social media. Thanks to RK Maroon for letting us use their song Macaroni Art from the EP You Can't Eat Horses. You can get it at rkmaroon.bandcamp.com. If you have a thing you think we should talk about, email us at mythingyourthingpod@gmail.com, and maybe that could be our thing.